Hi and welcome to another tour. The main destination is an oil refinery. We're not going to visit it, we're just going to watch from the other bank of the river. And I want to do a presentation which I have prepared about renewable energies. So I'm going to do again a few presentations which are just the next page in the book. It's right now renewable energies and 2-3 other subjects. And I'm going to read also again poetry for another channel. It's just the next poem which I can find. I'm going to include them here. I try to, wherever I publish this, to include possibilities to skip that the person can go to the next scene. These poems and presentations, it's just the next thing which I have, and I'm doing them along the way, and I think they're quite good in the vlog, but I haven't watched it, I haven't seen it in one through. How would it be? So I'm going to show you now on the map where the oil refinery is and where we're going to go broadly. It's the same place where we were a week ago. So we're going to go here to Seaton Carew and then to North Gas Sands, and from where we can see the ConocoPhillips oil refinery, and here one cannot see them from there is the Graham tank farm. They two belong together, and we're going to go there and going to look from there onto the oil refinery.
To Duse by Sara Teasdale. Our beauty that is filled so full of tears, where every passing anguish left its trace. I pray you grant to me this depth of grace, that I may see before it disappears, blown through the gateway of our hopes and fears, to death's insatiable last embrace, the glory and the sadness of your face, its longing unappeased through all the years. Now bitterness beneath your sorrow clings, within the wild dark falling of your hair, there lies a strength that ever soars and sinks. Your mouth's mute weariness is not despair. Perhaps among us craven, earth-born things, God loves its silence better than a prayer.
So if I understand it correctly, one has to first to type a part of a number plate and when to pay and so on. And this is the old bus stop. And also the toilets are no longer in use. So here the public toilets when at the beach. Only with card payment possible, and it costs 30 pence.
To Duse by Sara Teasdale. Your beauty lives in mystic melodies, and all the light about you breathes a song. Your voice awakes the dreaming airs that throng within our music-haunted memories. The siren's strain that sang within the seas when man forgot to listen floats along your voice's undercurrent soft and strong. Stills and shepherds pipe beneath the trees. Along the purple hills of the rifted sand, a lone Egyptian plays an ancient flute. At dawn the Memnon gives his old salute beside the Nile by desert breezes fanned. The music faints about you as you stand, and with the Orphean lay it trembles mute. Indicators of economic development. One thing is the birth rate. That is how many people are born per person. And then also the age structure. Typically, more economically developed countries have more people older than young people. And the next thing is infant mortality. Less people dying is an indicator for more economically developed area. More doctors per person or psychologists per people. Safe access to drinking water and literacy, that most people or more people can read and write. And also the economy itself, that less people are working in farming, but more in services. And also that more people are living in towns than on the countryside. And that the people have per person a higher income than in other countries. According to Geography by Jane Ferretti and Brian Gressley on the pages 106 and 107. The positions and views expressed are the ones of the source and don't necessarily align with my own or with the ones of the entities spoken of. To Eleanor Duse in The Dead City by Sara Teasdale. Were you a Greek when all the world was young, before the very years that pass and pass? Had scattered all the temples on the grass before the moss to marble columns clung? I think your snowy tunic must have hung, as now your gown does, wave on wave a mass of woven water. As within a glass, I see your face when Homer's tale was sung. Alcaeus kissed your mouth and found it sweet, and Sappho's hand has lingered in your hand. You half remember Lesbos as you stand, where all the times and countries mix and meet, and lay your weight of beauty at our feet, a garland gathered in a distant land. So as we found out last time when we were picking, maybe gloves are an actual idea, so we took them. We bought them also at Boys already half a year ago, because I attempted, and I actually did, clean the tennis courts at the headlands where were big puddles full of mud, and the tennis balls going in there were completely dirty. But just shortly after I cleaned them, the official of the Borough Council came and cleaned them. But now we at least gonna try them. I don't know if they work or anything, and they are not really strong here everywhere. But I wanted to try them and I have them, so we're gonna try them now. And while we walk here through, we're gonna look if we can take some things. Just divide. They were also around 3-4 pounds. And these bags, it doesn't really work. We need at least other ones. We're gonna go shortly to the Borough Council and ask for the proper one. But I still like the idea of a bucket. Wind and so on, or we can make a ring in or something. I don't know. But this is not really good. But we're gonna see. Now we're gonna walk here along and take with us what we see.
Two days ago we were there, I think by that wind turbine. So we made now a half one full, and we're gonna try to give it, I think there was a little bit, we try to give it to there. Here is almost blue grass. And yes, here's a little bit directly again. A few more times like that and it will break. So we're gonna go into the Borough Council and ask for the leader bits so we can place them next to them. And now we're gonna go on further south there to the refinery to the northwest. To a picture of Eleanor Duse in The Dead City by Sara Teasdale. Your face is set against a fervent sky. Before the thirsty hills that sevenfold return the sun's hot glory, gold on gold, where Agamemnon and Cassandra lie. Your eyes are blind whose light shall never die, and all the tears the closed eyelids hold, and all the longing that the eyes have told, is gathered in the lips that make no cry. Yea, like a flower within a desert place, whose petals fold and fade for lack of rain, are these your eyes, where joy of sight was slain, and in the silence of your lifted face, the cloud is rent that hides a sleeping race, and vanished Grecian beauty lives again.
to A Picture of Eleanor Duse in The Dead City by Sara Teasdale. Carved in the silence by the hand of pain, and made more perfect by the gift of peace, than if delight had bid your sorrow keys, and brought the dawn to where the dark has lain, and set a smile upon your lips again. O strong and noble, while your woes increase, the gods shall hear no crying for release, nor see the tremble that your lips restrain. Alone as all the chosen are alone, yet one with all the beauty of the past. A sister to the noblest that we know, the Venus carved in mellows long ago. Yea, speak to her, and at your lightest tone her lips will part, and words will come at last. To A Picture of Eleanor Duse as Francesca da Rimini by Sara Teasdale. O flower-sweet face and bended flower-like hair, O violet whose purple cannot pale, or forest fragrance ever faint or fail, O breath and beauty pass among the dead. Yea, very truly has the poet said, no mist of years or might of death avail to darken beauty. Brighter through the veil we see the glimmer of its wings outspread. Our face embowered and shadowed by thy hair, some lotus blossom on a darkened stream. If ever I have pictured in a dream my guardian angel, she is like to this. Her eyes now joy, yet a sorrow lingers there, and on her lips the shadow of a kiss. Now I went down here because I have a presentation prepared about non-renewable energies, and I was looking if there's something in the vicinity, and that's actually not so easy to get. We were 2 days ago by the solar field and the wind farm, and where we were at the solar field, and now we're down here. There's also a wind farm with renewable energies, but there's not so much non-renewable. Per definition, this nuclear, Hartlepool nuclear power is also non-renewable, but I don't know how it actually works. They use uranium and also gas-cooled and nuclear fusion. I don't know what of that is now non-renewable, so I don't know how it works, but it is non-renewable. And then there was a little problem. I thought these two towers would be a coal-fired plant, but they are just cooling towers, and I can't even find for what. And when the next plant is then the Middleton, down there, behind that. But for that we have to go quite far inland to the first bridge, and then over 2 hours through Middlesbrough and back. And I don't really want to walk for 5 hours through Middlesbrough, so that's why we're now here. And I don't know how close we can come to the wind plant if we're going to go down there. That is coal-fired, and I think also oil, the wind plant. And there's a second one next to it. And then there's gas, there by Salt Lake or something. There was salt actually also taken out. There's gas, that is a smaller one. There's some pipes visible. But when I saw that is not producing anything out of non-renewable energy, so all the energies here are renewable. A part of the nuclear plant, it seems to be produced, and the subsidizing thing with the salt gas. But they are doing oil for transporting it out to other countries. So here's not so much non-renewable, a part of the nuclear and the gas and the wind plant and the other thing. But here's a big gas refinery terminal, and that is why we're now here to make about that a presentation. Yes, I wanted to go over there. I include that here because I think the planning is a big part of what we're doing here, where we go and what we do. So I want to include this also where we go. I wanted to go down there to the Grange. So if I understand it correctly, that is the Grange and that is the Teesside. Further down, they are meeting there somewhere. And the Grange has a big area there also. Then there's the industrial part, and then comes the Tees. So it is not the Tees estuary, but it has the same exit. The Tees seems to go also out there. So I wanted to go down there to the bridge over Graham. The Graham, I don't really understand it. By Copen, which is just 2 kilometers further in, by Copenhagen, it's just a brook. And where by Graham, I know why. Where by Graham, it is a 20-meter big bridge, I know why. It is not the Graham Brook or river going out. The big bridge is there because it's tidal. So the amount of water coming through the Graham Brook, that's not much. It's a bigger brook, 3-4 meters, but just a brook in a way. But where the big bridge is, over the Graham is 20 meters, there's a tide going in and out. And that is why there is so much water in, because it's the tidal water going in and out. Now, and the next thing is, it's way more green than it was a week ago. Yeah. So I wanted to go over there, and there at the Graham Bridge, one can go in up until very shortly before it's Concord Phillips and Co. or something. To the refinery, here we have a better view. And now in a moment we're going to try to make a presentation about the non-renewable energies, just as an example of that here. And we were a week ago down for an example of secondary industry, and in renewable it was for. So we're going to go was ever any place like this before? So like the veiling for the south of anything so pure and yet so pitiful for sin. They say the soul will pass the heavy door, and yearning upward learn creation's law. Only earth is beautiful, but mine shall have forever love been so near, so much. Oh yes, and the sea so far through the misted tears. Our death behold, these eyes can never lie. Yeah, oh your kiss should be lovely lips of fire. Their faint, sad smile and still reveal death. Behold the perfect flower with neck uprears, and bow their head and pass wonderful. To a picture of Eleanor Duse with a Greek fire in Francesca da Rimini by Sara Teasdale. Francesca's life a porcelain flame, a gleam against the shimmer of a soul, which failing quenched the flame and blood outpoured to free the house of Rimini from shame. Francesca's death had blazed aloft her name, in guilty faithless glory hurling toward the windy darkness where the tempest rolled. Her spirit burdened by the weight of blame. Francesca's life and death are mirrored here forever on the face of her who stands illumined and intent beside the place, crowned one with it, and reading without fear that they shall far upon the selfsame ways, plucked forth and cast away by bloody hands. Non-renewable energies. In this book, there are 4 examples named, and there's not much explanation, but I'm right now down here because there's a big oil refinery. So first, what is said in the book? There said one is fuel wood, so to take wood and burn it, to make things hot with it, to make fire out of it with wood. Advantages are that it is growing new, one can plant new and grow new, but it can be also taken too fast and then it doesn't have time to burn new. And if it is taken, then also happens that if it is burnt, there is carbon in it, and the carbon is reacting with the oxygen in the air, becoming carbon dioxide. And if there's a lot of it in the air, then it is like a blanket. The sun can go through the blanket out of carbon dioxide, warm the air, but now hot air can't go through the blanket of carbon dioxide, and it gets warmer in places where people have made a lot of fire. So, wood is a possibility. Another possibility is coal. That is quite deep down in the earth. In many places it can be also higher up. And there's a bit lying around. Coal can be taken out of the ground. That can be dangerous. There can be accidents. Many people have in the history of humanhood died. And it can be taken. It is burning quite good, but it's the same thing. Coal is also out plants. One can make actually charcoal with burning wood without oxygen when it becomes very coal-like. And it burns good, but it is also consisting out of carbon. When plants are taking water and the sunlight and making photosynthesis and taking carbon dioxide out of the air and building themselves out of it. Also human beings and all animals and all plants have a lot of carbon in them. Carbon has 4 electrons and it can make the thousands of things together bones and many things in a human body, and animals and plants can be formed, built out of carbon. And that is why all living things consist a lot out of carbon, and so trees. And trees and plants deep underneath the ground under high pressure with heat lying there, they can become over millions of years coal. That can be taken out, burning good, and retaken. Problems are, if it is burned again, the carbon stored in it is again released into the air and is in the air. And if it is a lot done with all the carbon which is there in the world taken into trees and becoming coal, then it's quite a lot of carbon in the air, and it is not a little blanket, but there's everywhere a lot of blanket, and it gets on hot days even hotter. And also, that's actually, as far as I understand it, I mean, it was 100 years ago, not probably taken to places and washed into the North Sea here, and still every day it is coming in little amounts here back to the beaches and lying here around. The next thing then said is gas, natural gas. The book is saying that it is burning cleaner than oil, and is burning very good. One disadvantage is that it can very easily inflame, and there are from time to time explosions and houses blow up into the air. That can happen. And it's the same thing, it is also consisting gas out of plants material. It is also bringing carbon again into the air. And the next thing is then oil. Now, that is a big oil refinery. I don't know much about it, but I wanted to go here as an example how it looks. There in the North Sea, so this is Britain, there in the North Sea, over there is Norwegia. There's Norwegian, and there's Denmark, and there's Germany, and here's Britain. And there's the X-field oil field, and 350 kilometers right in the middle over to Norway, but it's still in the Norwegian sector, and there is a lot of oil in the ground. 150 million years ago, there were here the dinosaurs living, and a lot of plants were here. And the dinosaurs were then dying, and the geology shifted and so on. And all these dinosaurs and all the plants are lying there on the ground. The Ichthyosaurus, the Plesiosaurus, a lot of algae, brown, golden, cocoa, viscous algae or something. A lot of animals there. And they are lying there when the whole geology has shifted, and now there's the North Sea. But still in the ground, there are all the remains of the plants and the dinosaurs. And they're under pressure over millions of years. They are fouled away. I don't know how it actually works, but a bit like letting something, a fruit or a bread, somewhere lying for weeks, it completely changes. That has happened there over 150 million years ago, and that is then deep in the North Sea, 3 kilometers below the ground, I think, are they getting it off. And they are pumping it there out. There are, I think it was 29 platforms. So there's not just sea, there are 29 platforms standing in the ocean. And they are drilling deep down into the ground and getting there this fouly, I don't know if it's actually fouling, but this material, like letting an apple foul for weeks, this black rests of the plants and the dinosaurs out, oil, crude oil, and bringing it with a Nord pipeline over to here. There's another pipeline going to Emden in Germany. They're bringing gas to Germany and crude oil here to the Tees River, to the Tees terminal oil refinery. There's Middlesbrough. And they're bringing a lot, I forgot it was, I think it was 100,000 or was it 300,000 barrels per day. By the way, just stop a little bit, there is the Hartlepool nuclear power plant, and that is also producing electricity, a lot of electricity, which is also per definition a non-renewable electricity. I don't know why. I think because we're using uranium, and uranium is also an element which can be used up. I don't know why it is, because it is advanced gas cooling, they also use gas, or because of the nuclear fusion. I don't know why, that is technically also non-renewable energy. But there's no smoke coming out, as you might see. There is a little smoke coming out over there, and they are not even burning the oil, they are just refining it there. So the oil is not burned here, they are just refining it here. There's a ship going out, it just, if I talk too long and it's not anymore there, it's not an oil tanker, I think. But it's also not a container ship. There's a second ship, so it is maybe a container ship. So just that is a container ship. Let's just say it's bringing oil out. I don't know. And I think that is something else, but that seems to be oil, or it could be oil. It looks the same. Now it is bringing with the pipeline. I think it was 300,000 barrels. I don't know how much it is over here to Britain and also natural gas to Germany, and they're receiving from other places also from we receive as well oil. 1 million barrel of oil is coming every day to here. And they are taking it, and I don't know if they are refining. They are somehow heating it up, and when they're taking the hydro something out of it and delivering it somewhere else, and then doing something else, I don't know what they do there. They are somehow refining it. 150 hectares, that big area there. They have 4 docks for ships. There's another ship. There's one going out, there's a ship, and then there's another ship. They're having every day 1 oil tanker going out. So they are receiving 1 million barrels per day, refining it somehow there with the big things, and then they can bring it over there to the tank farm, the Graham tank farm. One cannot see it from here. There are 9 big tanks. One cannot go close to them, so I don't know how big they are, but they are big. Each of them can store of 1 day, so they can store their 7 million barrels. So 300,000 barrels comes from the dinosaur foley material over to here. They are refining it every day, 1 million barrels. They also get from 2 other places. And when they're bringing some of it to the tank farm, there are 9 big tanks. I don't know how big, but let's just say they're 30 meters big, maybe 50. I don't know how big, but they are big. Let's say 30 meters, and also high. One can see them from high up, so they must be 30, 40 meters big. And they can store it there. And they have now 4 docks, and every day they are bringing out 1 ship. These ships can do around 1 million barrels. There are also some with 2 or 3 million barrels. I read 360 ships per year, so once per day. And I think that is one. That could be 1 oil. That seems to be something else. And then also, I don't know, maybe they also store and bring them on the day 5 out. Maybe they're also with the tides. Here's quite some tide going up in here. Maybe that is why they're having it somehow shifted. I don't know. So they're taking it to the tank farm, and when the oil is exported, they are bringing much of it to the Netherlands. That is there. In about 400 kilometers or something, and from there it is distributed to a continent of Europe. So that is here. And I think that is say that. So that are non-renewable energies. Over there, that would be renewable. Renewable because the sun up there is heating the air, and when the wind is blowing, because it's heating up, and if it's warm, it is rising up, and when the blowing wind is coming against them, and when they are turning, and that produces electricity, because inside of them there's iron turned inside of copper, and they're having a magnetic field, and if it's a magnetic field, there's some strength going on, and that creates electricity. So that would be renewable, and this is a big part of non-renewable, where oil is refined. I don't know, other places to heat and so on and for industry. Now the basis of that are according to Geography by Jane Ferretti and Brian Gressley on the page 100 and 101. The positions and views expressed are the ones of the source and don't necessarily align with my own or with the ones of the entities spoken of. Always sponsored affiliated or in contact with Concord Phillips Oil Refinery or whatever the name of them is, or with anyone else. A song to Eleanor Duse in Francesca da Rimini by Sara Teasdale. Oh, would I were the roses that lie against her hands, the heavy burning roses she touches as she stands. Dear hands that hold the roses where mine would love to be. Oh leave the roses and hold the hands of me. She draws the heart from out of them. She draws away their breath. Oh, would that I might perish and find so sweet a death.
They usually don't make that sound. The internet saying is that they are doing usually or regularly tests from time to time, and that one should not be worried hearing them. Now they are again, I don't know. Because they're inconsistently, and I think they're also changing. I assume that it's just a test, but I don't think we could do much. I'm gonna do a bit of research what one could do. I don't really know. There's not all too much. I heard about not touching the ground and things.
So I think it's just a test, but I'm gonna maybe look if I find something somewhere. No, I don't think it's not really a good idea to say something to that. when I don't know it, but also see it a bit as a progressive thing. So I heard that in the case of something like that, one should not touch the ground, because it is coming into the air and falling into the ground. But maybe that was just for nuclear bombs. So one should not touch the ground. And when the radiation in the moment, we would not have anything. I think aluminium or something, but we don't have anything. Then that would work. And then big concrete. But I don't know what it would be. But I think these are the three things which I know so far. But we're going to do it continually. We're going to be here more often. But then maybe find something out. No, this is no advice or anything. I don't know anything. But I see it as a progressive thing. So where we know it would be not to touch the ground, because where it is falling on, and also not to breathe the dust in. And then during it is where aluminum and concrete can be against radioactivity. But I don't know anything, and it is also a lot of radiation. So we made two more half full with a lot of glass, and there were also some broken glass we didn't pick up with. As I said, one should not, and we don't have the proper things we're gonna rip. And at the east end of the Zingsburg Road, there is a litter bin. I'm gonna look in a moment how official it was, but there is one at least for the feces of dogs. We're gonna use it, which should work. And we heard already 3 days ago when we were at the Seaton Plateau, all this sound. It seems to be from here, from the nuclear power plant. So we're here in Seaton Carew again to practice search, and it's completely here. On the left side it's fine. Almost completely there. There's warm-up exercises for surfs. Back, then behind the back, down, and then back, grab the shoulder down, and up. Maybe a bit faster, maybe almost completely then standing, maybe also a little bit more movement, maybe a little bit of jump. That is the warm-up exercises for surfs. Doing this exercise is at your own risk. The Seaton Park playground gets new things. Did we deliver it with lawn? Or did we just put the concrete in? And also more of these park things. The Zeppelin Raid on Hartlepool during the First World War. All I know is what is written on these two things here. Here is said that on the 27th November 1916, the Zeppelin L34 was shot down by Iron Vernon Pyatt of a Squadron 36 of the Royal Flying Corps. And here is written that the people saw the flames coming out of a burning Zeppelin as it was falling down into the sea, and that in the following days the debris and the bodies of the I assume German soldiers were washed ashore, and they were then buried with military honors. One of the first videos we made today was there, by these rocks which are now underwater. We went now in the center of Hartlepool into the Christchurch Art Gallery, and here's a wheel of a Zeppelin which was shot down, the L34. The Primark in the Middleton Grange shopping centre in northeast England, in the central eastern part of Hartlepool. Not that building, it's over there. And we bought their ratatouille, saying bon appetit for £4 and the letter T for £2. But they're mostly not selling bags but clothes. It's a big store selling clothes. 50 meters long, 20 meters wide. And many people are buying their clothes. It's a big store, many visitors. Also many people are there working. And it has been occurred to the cashier parts there. It's quite fast. Mostly are 2-3 people working there. They're working as fast as they can. There are just very many visitors, so one can stay there for a few minutes, and it's quite a close space without air moving, so that's not the perfect condition should there be one day a pandemic. But otherwise, big store. I don't want to point out in any way a health facade. It's very clean, bright, good store, everything great, looks clean. And we're selling many clothes. It's a good store. I'm in no way sponsored or affiliated with Primark or the Middleton Grange shopping centre.
So we're back, and a little recapitulation because it was maybe a little fast at the end. We went to the tennis courts in Seaton, which are free to play with without registration, and then we went also to the city centre, to the Christchurch, the old Christchurch, which is now used as the art gallery, as a museum, and that is also free entry, and there are also public bathrooms. And there was one of these wheels of a Zeppelin, I hadn't seen it before, of this L34, which was shot down in November 1916, I think was it. And then we went on into some other shops, multiple, in the center of Hartlepool as well. And now we're back. I thank you very much for watching, and until the next time.